welcome to Hamiora. Oh, kia ora everybody. Welcome to the Hamiora Brothers.
Been a minute. Yeah.
Jay Downs, Hamiora Bennett, Fraser Beck, and today we're talking about seasonal affective disorder. Boys, what is it?
Winter blues. I suppose, like, our seasons are going to affect us in different ways. So, kind of, I suppose, even flow from season to season is going to have its response. But we're kind of thinking more about the kind of blue or depressive or sedative effects of winter, the darkness, the cold,
depressive states occurring at a certain time of year in winter.
Hunkering down, kind of like matariki, a time to like slow down, hibernate, prepare for the warm seasons. So we kickstart here. Interesting time. We're really approaching that midwinter now. Today, July the 5th.
Especially in Dunedin, man. We will kind of make a differentiation between Dunedin and a place like Auckland. We get a little bit more sunlight.
Slightly closer towards the hemisphere, so that you're going to get more sun.
They're still sustaining a little bit more temperature as well. So
we know it's like a depressive state occurring during winter. What's the main reason behind that occurring in winter? What do we change? What are we doing that's different?
Kind of like that perfect storm, mate. Less time spent outside.
It's too cold out and not going out.
Less sunlight. It's not just the sunlight, time outside as well, so the quality of our view.
Yes.
And then we would also say temperature. So the temperatures go to affect our movement, our interest in movement. We're thinking more about insulation as opposed to movement.
Exerting.
So
now we're going to try to conserve our energy.
Correct. The first instinct when we're cold is to warm up.
And the social isolation that occurs. It's like, no, I'm not going to go outside because it's too cold. I'm not going to see someone.
It really is that perfect storm.
Barbecue outings, outdoor events.
Look at the barbecue. God, it's fucking gangster. Just staying on a winter barbecue.
We set up a gazebo, just keep it on. Oh man, it'll still be freezing.
Or just have it in the elements.
And then we would,
Tough it out.
And then let's look at the negative effects of increased time spent indoors, quality of air, fluorescent lighting.
Lighting's an interesting one.
Also, more time spent in like kind of sedentary activities. What do we do when we're inside? Well, highly likely we're stuck in an office, something of that nature.
We can think about how we get less sunlight and how light is so important in our day-to-day to maintain and regulate circadian rhythm. And the research we were talking about just before was like blue light and how much more exposure we're getting to blue light from our laptops and our phones and our technology, and how that is kind of it's a perfect storm. You're not outside connecting in real light, you're inside looking at artificial light.
It's kind of like staring at the sun. If you've got blue light on all the time, it's like telling your brain and your eyes that you're just staring at the sun all day long. So then, you're gonna have trouble sleeping.
Especially
but the sun is up late, so we're not kind of getting that early morning light. The sun's down a little earlier. But we've got all this lighting to keep us going.
And such a large portion of the population is getting up at 7, getting to work, kind of maybe in the dark or the sun's just coming up. They spend 8 hours at work, and then by the time it's 5:30, you got about half an hour of daylight. It's gone.
Down here in Dunners, it's dark. The shortest day of the year, around 20th of June, 20 to 21st. It floats around then, right? 5 o'clock is dark. It's dark till 9.
It's such a slow, incremental thing, and it's good to talk about it in this way because people don't realise.
Just happens.
It just slowly starts happening. You're like in the middle of winter, like, man, life sucks. But you just the thought processes, the patterns of thought start becoming more negative, and there's just more and more depressive traits.
It definitely sneaks up on you. It's not like one day you're just like, oh man, I feel pretty bad today. Yesterday I was great. It's just like things get worse and worse. More and more things start to piss you off. And then suddenly, you're in that hole. It's impossible to climb back out again.
Well, what can we do to help climb out?
low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Well, the small access and opportunity we do get, we just get outside, right? Go for that walk.
Yeah.
If there's some sun, hopefully there is, go get that sun.
You do get the occasional sun during lunchtime, mate. Get out and like.
It's been pretty
Big lights.
It's like, just butt naked standing in the middle of the street.
Yeah, I mean, not a bad idea. We have supplementation, which is, should be ideally a secondary or a bolstering.
Yeah, vitamin D.
Vitamin D.
Definitely vitamin D.
We have pretty, Jay knows more about this than most, but we have pretty low strength vitamin D in New Zealand.
Yeah.
It's going to be restricted to about 1,000 IUOs, which is usually about 25 micrograms or something like that. Is that correct, Jay? Something like that?
It's weak.
Yeah,
it's not much.
Yeah, it's low.
In America, you can get like 10,000.
10,000. Yeah. More is better. Just go for it. It's pretty safe up to most levels. Or your doctor. Yeah. Your doctor. Especially with reference to multi-Pacifica populations in winter. In the south, particularly, you're going to be more heavily affected. So, you are likely to be vitamin D deficient. Highly likely.
Also, things like omega-3. You'd be
Yeah,
increasing your dairy consumption or your
Correct. Yeah.
shellfish.
Absolutely.
Anything's going to help.
If you can get your hands on some shellfish, you're getting that omega-3 and you're going to get that vitamin D as well.
You get many
But
vitamins and nutrients.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. The nutrient wisdom of nature, right? There's a reason why the oily fish in the far north have very high levels of vitamin D, and the populations that exist up there, consume it. There's somewhat of an intelligent balance going on there,
For sure.
and people have known that for some time, and it helps them cope with the low levels of the natural vitamin D they're going to be experiencing.
I was listening to some research on a podcast discussing research about dopamine, and there was a particular study showing how omega-3 supplementation can increase dopamine by 40%.
Wow.
It's a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, I know. So it's like
We sell drugs based on things that will help like 2%, 3%.
yeah,
But so 40% is
it's a lot.
Yeah.
And you'd want to get some systemic meta-analyses on that.
Yeah.
But it seemed like a relatively credible study by the people that were saying who was sponsoring it.
Now,
But omega-3s could be.
bro, with reference to both modern and old, my auntie Gina, who lives in the Ruatoki, Tuhui Valley, she has like a traditional sweat room, which is really cool. It's kind of like a homemade sauna room, where they heat the rocks, pour water on the rocks, to my knowledge, this is what I imagine the Ngāi Tahu people would have had something of that nature for the cold times. And these are not saunas like we know in Europe, but the temperature gets to like 50 to 60 degrees, very warm. And I imagine how people would have been doing that in the colder times of year. It's a beautiful, wonderful thing to be doing. A gentle sweat, you can hang in there a long time. But for those of us with the access to it, the saunas.
Saunas are so good for so many things.
Yeah, they're going to make you feel they're going to make us feel very relaxed. They're warm. So lovely having a sauna.
We need to get a mobile sauna to start integrating it into New Zealand culture.
like a coffee cart, a sauna inside, just travel from town to town.
You get a sauna on a boat, you take people out, you do hot cold plunges, they experience hormesis and adaptation to stress,
Hot,
and
cold
spectrum of thermoregulation. It's more advanced and you become
Stronger. So that Isaac, cheers. But yeah, in relation to any heat or cold or kind of therapies, along those kind of modalities we have access to, have played great things. All those little things to kind of build some resilience and health.
And nutrition's a big part of that.
Of course, we stress out the engine with bad stuff. We're not going to feel as good. So. Agreed. Dairy is really rich in vitamin D. It's a great source of it. That's going to have a positive bolstering effect.
We've talked about the importance of protein and amino acids being the building blocks for all the precursors for many of the cells and the neurotransmitters in the body.
Yes.
a lot of them are like, produced in the gut. It's it should be much simpler if we educate people on the nutritional aspects of why you're eating this thing. As soon as people become educated about why this food and what it's doing in the system, it's like,
I suppose we've got to connect with their kind of
drive,
their intrinsic value system, right?
What it means to them.
Exactly. Do they have a rational or emotional connection to food? So are we approaching our conversation in a rational or emotional context? Are we going to describe how it's going to improve someone's athletic performance or beauty? Because we all have varying drivers, right? For me,
seasonal affective disorder, it's like motivation.
Yeah, my motivation for diet is recovery, strength, recovery and strength, a balance of recovery, strength, and longevity. Those are my 3 building blocks, my interests. Recovery, performance and strength first. Recovery is my second.
You're pretty strong.
But the longevity is kind of like that third part. I used to eat with less regard for that. Now I eat with more regard for that because I'm a little longer. And it's not about, I don't want to live to 80. I just want to live optimally today.
I want to live 120, 150.
If we're living good, right?
You think if the science gets to the point where it allows some people to be able to do that, it's going to be dependent on your physiology and the way you have lived your life up until that point.
And the way we can repair our
cells,
our failing organ cell systems.
Because they are just constantly reaching. Well, they're constantly declining in the ability to replicate themselves. So then it just it's going to
process down.
How can we minimize the amount of damage every time it replicates?
Well, we need to reverse kind of the,
let's decrease the stress. And like all the cofactors and things that help amino acids produce the the neurotransmitters and the cellular regeneration. Things like the vitamin D3 and the magnesium and the calcium and the B vitamins. Supplementation is a pretty easy way to get you out of that rut. Because if you realise you're in a rut during winter months, possibly look into trying some omega-3 or
what do we have? What do we have to miss or lose? Right? We can suggest the low-hanging fruit, the high supplementation in terms of vitamin D, quite specifically.
Protein.
Keep your protein adequate.
1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight.
I think so.
At least.
I think keeping adequate protein is very important. I'm personally concerned at people experimenting with diet in winter. I don't want to make disruptions. Let's try to keep some good fixtures and bones to it. I'm a little bit concerned with people going, and this is my opinion, people going more plant-based in winter, when typically the winter months are not going to have a huge abundance of things like vegetables and fruits, and our diet is going to be more animal dominant. And there's a reason nature wants more animals in that diet.
Animal protein.
Fats and protein.
And I guess the collagen and the gelatin, all the offcuts of meat.
So absolutely. So I think those are quite important as well.
Definitely. So to tie back into the seasonal affective disorder as well.
Yes.
Just seasonal affective disorder and depression, like that whole issue is usually tied to there being a deficit within the body system. So then you tend to withdraw from life because there's an issue. Like you physically want to withdraw. You don't understand why, but you try and get away from people. You try and get away from stuff because there's something wrong. So by attacking stuff like getting your vitamin D, omega-3s, and
you reach for a stimulant that further depletes your store. So like you keep going for coffee or alcohol or
it's like, how can I get through this? Just pump that coffee or pump that alcohol, I'm gonna get through it.
It gives you that short rush, I feel better, and then you drop down a little bit lower than you were, and
then it gets worse and worse and worse until you just like
until the sun starts coming back and you're like, oh come on.
Drag yourself out to the sunlight.
Come markers. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
Diet.
Yeah.
Supplementation.
Got to move the body.
Behaviour, say.
Moving's going to help a lot.
Referring back to our tendency to like want to wrap up, to remain warm, we should try to move to get some temperature. Movement is a great heat creator. Get the blood flowing. Wonderful. Even things like heat and cold activities like your saunas, like your body's still increasing in temperature and decreasing. There's some a positive stress going on. I think those are really good. We know all those traditional things. We know that some exercise is going to make us feel better. We know that eating good is going to make us feel better. I suppose we're trying to trudge into what aspects of those are going to have most value.
Another interesting thing would be to like realize everyone's going through it, and you are affected by the energy of those around you. So everyone, on average, is feeling a little bit more depressed, a little bit more down. I'd rather just isolate myself. I'm not going to go socially interact. When you do make those connections with humans during those months, like try and give them the energy.
Yeah. Or even because we know we could just hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
So it's just when it gets to that time, right about now, we're gonna need to help each other out.
Yeah.
Just say,
You taking your good bro?
All good?
What's too late? You taking your vitamin D3?
Yeah. So what are we doing? Jay, run me through like winter. What are you doing? Yeah. Like run me through.
Making sure that there is the exercise.
Yeah.
Sticking to the healthy foods. I eat lots of fish.
Cool.
Always got the vitamin D3. Yeah, some tuna. I'm more into
Your sardine, man?
salmon.
Yep.
No, sardines would be good if I like them, but I'm more into salmon and tuna when it's there. When it's fresh tuna,
So guys,
I'll grab that.
very good.
You blend the sardines into a small shot.
Paste. A sardine paste. Squeeze it on your toast. Tough.
It's very easy, like I know I do, cold, I want hot food. Those hot food can come...
Lots of tea. Drink a lot of tea.
Yeah. That hot food can come with like some casualties, in terms of seeking comfort through food, seeking the feeling of warmth via food. And many people put on weight during winter. And we're at a gym, guys, and we're all trainers. And we know that it's been pretty good right now. We're in a unique situation, 7 to 8 weeks post-COVID, so people are really keen. But there does tend to be a small decrease in participation in the gym. It's cold in the morning. It's dark. I'll just go home. So compliance, comfort eating, reduced activity. I take 10,000. I'm taking 20 at the moment. The only reason 20 a day. The only reason I've doubled it is because I've been taking 10,000 for a while, feeling fine. If anything, I feel pretty good. And it's now winter, so I thought I'd double it. Just
experiment with the body.
Correct. Also, when you go to the doctors and you're vitamin D deficient, you're likely to get doses of 20 to 50,000, depending on your age, weight, gender, and all these other things. And it's perfectly safe. I also take fish oils. I take pretty stock standard over the counter. I take 4 a day. Yep. And I try to keep my protein levels up. I know my taste sensors for hot food tends to drive me a bit to
Spice?
or heat. Anything like just temperature. Temperature and I love spice regardless. I love food, but I'm likely to consume a little bit for comfort. I don't find I overeat, but I try to keep a pretty homogeneous lifestyle. Some daily exercise, daily cooking, a similar-ish work schedule, and those are pretty key fixtures. So I try to keep the homogeneous exercise behaviour throughout the year. Like, why change it?
Hydration is a simple one as well.
Yeah.
Even though, true, you still get dehydrated in the cold.
Yep.
People forget that.
You're not getting that furious sweat that you might get in the summer, but your body's still working hard to get to that temperature.
Yeah.
It's going to use fluid.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a consequence of the process of thermoregulating and staying at
Yeah.
a good core body temperature, you urinate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Gotta keep drinking.
What about you, Fraser? Like run us through like it's winter.
Like on the retreat, like waking up early at 5 in the morning, going for a hike in the really cold weather, it's been hard. I've sensed it. I'm gonna like realize I'm gonna that downward cyclonic thought process, like, I'd rather not be doing this. So I've been trying to catch myself when that happens, and just to remind myself to be grateful for what I've got, and the people, the humans I've got around me, the good community. I've been experimenting with mushroom tea.
Cool.
As a substitute to coffee.
When the mushrooms come around in the environment this time of year, guys, right? Yeah. So again, nature's. I think there's another. In the cold regions, I think there's a reason that is becoming readily available.
Yeah. What do they suck up some vitamin D as well?
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Suck up the vitamin D. Like you can leave like those little white button mushrooms outside and like on the porch or something, and they'll just suck up a bunch of it. As long as you leave them out, not too long, then they'll go all dry and gross, but they'll absorb it and then you get it through as nutrition.
I left the broccoli in the oven for way too long last night, and it's carcinogen. Cooked it into this blue, like
just this crust.
It's like not black. It's like
it's gone cooked so much it's gone blue.
It's started to mutate.
Yeah.
Broccoli
Again, mushrooms. They it's called the damp. This time of year, the cold.
Seems like
fungi
sun
start coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a seasonal thing, man. I think that's a big one.
Yeah.
If we're accessible. There's I also think that there's our circadian rhythm changes. I think in winter we are meant to sleep more, and in summer we are meant to sleep less. And I'm not saying it as in a way like, because we like to, as humans, we like to think of rigid systems for health. You need 8 hours a day. You need these.
Water.
You need these vegetables and this. It's like, well, they're not available. They're not available year round, naturally.
It's just a simplifier, really.
Yeah, structurally. I believe winter is a time to rest a bit more, and winter is prosperity. The squirrel collecting the nuts.
Preparing for the sun.
That's right.
When everything's bountiful.
So and it's perfectly fine. But we want to achieve things and get some stuff done. So sustaining some good things, but being mindful that it's okay to pull back a wee bit.
And just being able to reflect and understand, like, how am I feeling? We kind of know why that's occurring. And what can I do after you've made them do it? Cognitive awareness of what is happening. Okay.
You've got time to be silent and reflect. Because you're supposed to be slowing down so much.
Yes.
Yeah, that was pretty long.
It was huge.
It's good. That's good. We segued some wee bits, but it was all relevant generally. Yeah, true. Seasonal affective whānau, post-COVID. Get your vitamin D. If you're brown and you're down south, get more.
True.
Over and out.
Peace out.